Counseling 501 class. My name is Nikita Meiger, and today I will be covering our ethical violation video blog. So to start off, I wanted to share with you South Carolina's most common reasons for a board to discipline a counselor, and those two reasons that I found are based on inappropriate relationships and sexual misconduct. So we know in our studies and in our readings, both of those should never ethically happen. It's common sense to us, but there were so many cases that I found that dealt with these two things. And the thing about inappropriate relationships and sexual misconduct is both affect a client's family, their marriage, and their children. So it's so important that we're careful as counselors. Some of the themes that I saw as I was reading through some of these cases was that counselors were not keeping thorough or detailed enough records. It really correlates well with the Code of Ethics in the ACA B6A, which is creating and maintaining records and documentation. So that code states counselors create and maintain records and all documentation necessary. So in the case that I would like to cover, it involves a male counselor that initiated an inappropriate relationship with a client that eventually led to him performing sexual misconduct. And throughout the reading that I found of this case, there was no documentation of any of this conduct in his notes. And even after she filed the report and showed that she was uncomfortable, there was still no detail in her documentation there or in her file. So what I found with this case was the counselor counseled and highlighted negative aspects of the client's marriage. He encouraged infidelity and divorce. And then once the counselor had the sexual misconduct behavior, the client reported it to the office manager. So as far as discipline for this counselor, the board required him to go to professional counseling and then do some additional education hours. I'm assuming those would be about sexual misconduct. As far as the ACA Code of Ethics, there were some violations for the ACA. The ones that I'd like to highlight, because we have a very short time for this video, I narrowed it down to 2 or 3 for the ACA and our South Carolina violations, but there were about 13 or 14 violations just in the ACA alone. So moving through, Ethical Code A1A in the ACA Code of Ethics, it talks about the primary responsibility of a counselor. The primary responsibility of a counselor is to respect the dignity and promote the welfare of a client. So with this client, encouraging divorce, encouraging infidelity, not caring for her needs as far as her journey to healing, but more so her journey with the counselor, that is not following this code of ethic. This counselor was not responsible with the weight that he was carrying in this client's life. The other one that I'd like to highlight is A5A, and that's sexual and or romantic relationships prohibited. So a sexual and or romantic counselor-client interaction or relationship with current clients, their romantic partners, or their family members are prohibited. So the sexual misconduct and even the counselor trying to frame their potential relationship, that was not a healthy and ethical move on the counselor's part. As far as South Carolina, the code of ethics that were violated had to do with immoral and unprofessional conduct, as well as the counselor practiced professionally in a way that actually endangered and brought harm to the client. So not only did this counselor harm his reputation, but he harmed the profession's reputation, and in the end really did harm to the client and their family. So definitely not a good case here, and it really really spoke volumes to the weight that we carry and how the responsibility that we have as counselors to be self-aware of ourselves and to help our fellow colleagues stay accountable. The last thing is the question that I have. Although sexual misconduct and inappropriate relationships can happen with both male and female counselors, the research that I found, at least in South Carolina, showed that this type of behavior happened more so with male counselors and female clients. And I would love to know your thoughts on why we think that is. Well, thank you so much for listening to my recording, and I look forward to hearing and learning from all of you.